What is this thing I found while cleaning out a deceased estate? At first glance it looks to hold liquid, but it has a large hole in the bottom, which would stop it from holding anything more than a tiny amount. It seems to be handmade, and it has 3 feet around it. It has a mouth that almost looks like it would be used for pouring, and really seems like it should have a cork or something in it perhaps. Any ideas? It's a French hand-blown glass wasp and fly trap. Dates from the 18th century. Designed to be used outdoors to catch flies, wasps and mosquitoes. A sweet syrup was put inside to attract the insects. Once the insect enters the bottle it cannot escape. This one seems to be missing the cork that goes in the top hole. Without that they'd fly right back out. What are these things mounted on the ceiling in the doorway to each room in an old house I just purchased? It seems like the previous owner painted over some of them. It's about 4 inches long by 1 inch wide, and looks kind of like an electrical outlet or event. The house was built in 1964. I haven't found anything on this on Google. What are these things? It's a heat detector for a DICTOGRAPH fire detective fire alarm, probably a Model 55. These were common in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, before smoke detectors came on the market. The DICTOGRAPH sensors typically say DICTOGRAPH on the side of the base. What is this leather with a zipper and a rectangle opening? This is a tooled leather piece with an eagle on one side and a Native American on the other. A reinforced slit is visible, and one end remains open when zipped. It came from Goodwill, so I have absolutely no history or origin info. It's about 12 by 18 inches when closed and unzipped to about 25 inches across, and it has 2 rivets at the edge. What is this thing for? It's a golf bag cover in a Western motif circa 1955. It's specifically Mexican. That's an Aztec eagle warrior and the eagle eating a snake on a prickly pear. Supposedly how the Aztecs decided to found Tenochtitlan where they did, as seen on the Mexican flag and coat of arms. What is this tripod with a container hanging from it, probably propane, and a red tube connected to a battery on top? It was near a hunting perch in the Black Forest, Germany. It was found in Lautenbach and near the wine fields. It is about 2.5 meters, and when I found it there was as a hunter shooting. What is it? They are propane-fired cannons to keep birds away from vineyards. They make a noise like a small explosion in the tube to scare away birds. The propane flows into a metal tube, where it's electronically ignited and explodes with a loud bang. The ignition is set on a timer, allowing it to be discharged every 5, 10, 15 or 30 minutes. We have them in the orchards near town, and it's a bit alarming sometimes. What is this green metal box with hatches and doors and windows on the side? It was made of steel and green on the outside. Above the hatch that was already open, there was a steel plate that was mostly faded away. It was approximately 2 meters high, maybe 3 meters wide, and 6 meters deep. It was found in the Belgian national park the Hoge Kempen, which is close to a military base used by NATO. Maybe that comes into play. It looked old and rusty, so it has not been used for a couple of years. But I can't say its age since I don't know. What is this thing? It's a LACK-2 shelter for mounting on a military truck like the Ural. It was developed in the mid-1970s, designed and built as an easily removable suitcase in the former German Democratic Republic, mainly for the military. After 1990, the LACK, including the carrier vehicles, continued to be used by the Technical Relief Agency, the German fire brigades, the German Red Cross, and in parts of the Bundeswehr. A large part of the LACK later came into private hands and is now a popular conversion basis for living cabins on expedition vehicles. What is this small silver antique box with engraving? I found this in the water at a freshwater beach half buried in the sand. It was super tarnished and basically black when I found it, but photos are from after I tried to shine it up a bit. There is a hinged shallow tray where there is a piece of glass that slides out. I can't open the main compartment, and I'm afraid I'll damage things if I try to force it. I think it's some kind of antique snuff box, but I can't find anything like it. It has an engraving with what looks like a thatched roof cabin and a volcano, which a friend of mine said looks like Mount Fuji. What is this thing? It's a lipstick case, most likely Italian, and dates from the 1930s. When the cap is removed, a spring-loaded mirror pops open. I just got this beautiful little Chinese pot from an antique shop, but we can't figure out its intended use, not even the shop owner. It has a little poker, a small hole on top, and is hollow. What is it for? It's an opium pot from the 19th century. These kind of opium jars and opium consumption were quite popular in China in the 19th century. In the same way alcohol was used in the West, it increased sociability when used in moderation. Its use and abuse, however, became much more prevalent after the 1830s, when the British began importing opium into China in large quantities. What is this tall and heavy brass cup? It's hand engraved with rust spots and oxidation on the inside. I bought it at a thrift store, perhaps a communion cup, a Grandy Starbucks cup filled with cactus for scale. There are no discernible markings aside from the engraved design. It seems like an old muddling glass that is popular for mint juleps, but I don't know for sure what it is. Any ideas? It's an Indian lassi cup from the 1920s to the 1950s, created out of brass and layered with silver. Each cup is one of a kind and showcases intricate decorative etchings and embellishments that have been worn over time. These beautiful cups are given as wedding favors in India and Pakistan, later used to drink the traditional yogurt drink lassi. What is this beautiful antique wooden jewelry box that has some green design on it and on all sides? It's 7.5 inches long by 5 inches wide and 2 inches high. The box appears to be very old and has been sitting in a basement for a few decades. The former owner of this box used to live in Iran in the 60s to 80s and was of the Baha'i faith, if that gives any clues, but traveled all over the world. The inlaid stuff on the wooden box seems to be some kind of stone or ceramic or glass. I thought it looked like carved jade or something, but I can't find anything that looks like this box. Does anyone have any insight on this box? It's a Michael ZAREBSKI mid-century jewelry box, made in Mexico from the 1960s. It's Mayan-inspired, and the stone is a composite of reconstituted malachite, azurite and chrysocolla. What is this thing I found in a river in Manchester, UK? It seems to have a light bulb, but no electric mechanism inside. The knob on top pushes down and twists, then releases with a loud click. Engraved patent number 217135 with no results. It has white numbers painted on, and it seems metal and is very lightweight. The engraving behind the knob says "Ever read?" Any ideas? It's a British World War II blackout flashlight. These were used in London's Blitz air raids and were intended to reduce to a minimum the amount of light directed towards the sky. This would make it harder for the German aircrews to locate inhabited areas. What is this thing I found in a storage room at a nearby castle from the 17th century? The staff could not identify it, so I offered to try here. It was found in Havdala Castle in southern Sweden, a fascinating landmark with traces of fighting during the Scanian War. Any suggestions? Please tell us in the comments. Thanks for watching. Let's make life fun.